All right, let's call the order.
Britton?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Thompson? Vansickle?
Yes.
All right, presentations, celebrations.
Motion to approve the
Oh, motion to approve the agenda. I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
I was just going to hear.
Britton?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Vansickle?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes. Thanks, Melissa, for that. Okay, now presentation, celebrations, and reports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm excited to share some information with the board tonight. Ms. Prowse and I received some information about a couple weeks ago regarding success of some of our students. So if it's okay, I'm going to hand it over to you to kind of talk a little bit about the program, and we have some students that we want to recognize.
So there is a program called National Math Stars, and we were informed that we had 3 students that were in 3rd grade last year, moving on to 4th grade, that scored in the top 2% of all 3rd graders across the state of Iowa on ISAS. So that test became even more complex this year, where it ended up being 54 questions, and that's really meaning that these students either got them all correct or missed no more than 3 problems. So it was a pretty time-intensive test and really testing things well beyond 3rd grade. So this gives them an opportunity if they want to apply for a national Math Stars program, and if they're selected, if they apply for that and they're selected for the national component, it really opens up some different coursework that they can take, some STEAM camps, and it follows them through from next year until graduating senior. So an amazing accomplishment as a state to get recognized, but kind of opens some possible doors up for the future. So I get to recognize 3 students. Talia Batinger. Thank you. Congratulations. We also have Katie Erickson. Usually the shy. And then Henry Armstrong is not able to be here. So we have 3 students that have worked very hard throughout the year, but then to have the stamina to work their way through that assessment and do a really fantastic job. It's not all schools have students that get recognized, and so for us to have 3 says a lot about the work that they're doing. Congratulations.
If we could have our 2 students that are here, would you guys be willing to come up here for a picture? Would you, Ms. Prowse, be up here with it?
No.
You guys will be okay. Come with me, Leslie. You're going to get a picture with the board. You stand over here. This is a great accomplishment. You go stand with the camera.
Awesome job, guys. Are you taking it?
Right.
You go ahead, and then I'll take one and give to Christine for the.
Well, I was just going to give it to Christine, so
Go ahead. You're better. I always take pictures wrong, so.
Here.
Good job.
Sorry.
That one chair. It looks silly. Perfect.
Very good, guys.
Awesome. Very good.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. And
Thanks for
best of luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, next steps for them is that they have the right, if they want, they can go ahead and submit an application and request to be selected for the additional math program. So yeah, a bare minimum, they're a top 2% of the state of Iowa for overall achievement. So that's quite an accomplishment. All right. Thank you guys.
That's awesome. Great job, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Very cool.
So do they have the equivalent in different disciplines in English?
Right now, the state of Iowa is only, to my knowledge, is only in mathematics. But it's starting to get some traction, so I could see them maybe doing this for reading, literacy, or sciences in the future, possibly.
Very cool. Okay, we are going to forego principal reports tonight, correct? So we will just go on to the consent agenda. Were there any questions about that or any comments you wanted to make, Mr. Heyer?
Really, our lead learner positions, there's 12 of them, 6 in each. It's our TLC positions, and it's student leadership. And then there's a few coaching positions in there. So other than that, it was a pretty standard consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Harold.
Britton?
Yes.
Taylor? Van Sickle?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to action items. The first one is the elementary construction project. So I think Rochelle and
Yeah, absolutely. Rochelle and Jesse are here. We have three really kind of major things that need to be accomplished tonight. I guess it would be first and foremost is if there's questions that we can kind of present. And then there would be the approval of a number of things, estimated cost project. We need to set a public hearing date. There's just a number of things that we need to ultimately have board action on tonight. So.
Yeah, we're about 85% complete with the construction documents. We did bring a current set. Please keep in mind that they are at 85%, not final yet. So they will have already in 2 weeks. This will come out in 2 weeks for today. Not any major huge changes for last time. Maybe the biggest one is just the main level. We changed some functioning of flex classrooms for first grade and relocated some flex classrooms within the third or the fourth grade, fifth grade pod area. So that's just a little bit of moving, shifting things around, actually reduce scope. So that was helpful. Got some costs back on that, so you'll see that in your costing report as well. So.
Really, with that aspect, we started looking at student locker usage, and we were putting almost all third, fourth, and fifth grade in one pod and having flex classrooms in the first and second, the north pod. And with that, we were going to have to require to add additional lockers. And through conversation with some teachers, they said, well, why don't we put some flex classrooms in the south pod and move third grade to the north pod, and then we don't have to add lockers. So it was actually a wise decision to really maximize the lockers that we currently have, and it seemed that our teachers were supportive and on board with that decision.
That's really the only change since the last meeting. So you guys realize just progress forward with documents.
so we're not adding a first grade classroom, we're moving it?
So we'll ultimately have 3 first grade classrooms. We wanted to get them in close proximity. If you want, we can look at the plans. Is that something you guys are interested in seeing?
We probably should.
Yeah.
Look
at it and go through.
Here,
This one over there?
I think that's the
Keep
same
that.
around.
Yeah.
Yes, if that's okay. If you want to look at main level first, you can go there first. But so this was the flex. So yeah, we cut off a portion of the building that was to make room. But yeah, the flex. We had a flex classroom actually here. Oh, right. But it turns out that it was better. Now we have a flex classroom down here instead of this being Yep. So there's still a flex up here. Yes, correct. Yep. This is actually 4. I'm not sure why that's not named that, but that's 4.
That's actually correct.
Oh no, you're right. Yes, you're right. You're only 2. That's right. Yep. Yes. Learning specialist is here.
This would be something currently right now. This would be computer science. So
this is becoming like learning specialist. Yep. And then 4th, 5th would be math interventions is here. Title is still here. This will become a 3rd grade class right now. It's all. Yep. And then this is first, and then it kind of goes around 3rd.
to repeat what I had said, these originally were down here, and it was pushing everybody down here, which would have required us to put additional lockers in here, and that was in the scope. What we did is we moved third up here and gave flex classrooms. That way, if we ever needed to do multiple sections, they're going to be down in that area.
So now your first grade is actually closer together to,
So that would be Annie Lake's room. This would be where it's right now, and then this would be our first grade classroom. They're in nice close proximity for collaboration.
and then this is your new kindergarten area. Yep. And then your special education rooms as well. And then we do have obviously the faculty for variable modifying and adding the guidance office and these small collaboration for both students and staff.
The changes that had ultimately happened was really where we were positioning and putting people, and we felt like it was more purposeful and more thought of. And it actually came, I spent a day over the elementary talking to teachers and through their feedback, it was kind of, what this makes a lot of sense.
So then the lower level really hasn't changed much since you guys thought last. This is still that entry piece here, the program coming up to this back, this whole entire back area, basically, here and here, all elevated about 2.5 feet. So that's why the program coming up. And then we have a small area here. And I think we should do this last time, it's just like a presentation area slash, you can have students sitting on the steps and there's some reading to that, or you can have somebody that's presenting something to the group. Just different ways you can utilize that space. Down here is a learning lab, which is more of like your collaboration, multi-use space. And we also use by tag a lot as well. So it's just a different way to name that space that makes it possible for all students to be able to use it, not just tag students. And then again, computer science math. Otherwise, this really hasn't changed all that much from the last time you guys saw it.
So out of the 15%, it's not done.
Yeah.
Does it have to be changes? Or
It's just getting sections detailing things. So sketches, making sure we have the ceiling levels right, making sure we have things incorporated in there. You can see our sketch here. Elevations are all correct. It's really more crossing our T's and dotting our I's at this point. But yeah, you can see we're fairly far along. It's just we got to button some things up to make sure we have the right detailing. Like this page is probably the one that we have the most work to do on. And that's where you're really detail-oriented page. So your door and frame schedule, your door details, and then also some miscellaneous sections that will have just
Are we still on board to be done with
that is what we're going to put in specs.
Okay,
So yes. Yeah. Because it's not going to take them terribly long to start knocking things out. There are still some things they're going to have to do during the school year, but the majority of the major capital.
And if I understand correctly, everyone will be in their existing classroom for the next school year. Correct? They wouldn't change from school year.
Right, because you're not affected. We're not touching those other classrooms till this summer. So basically, a year from now, that's when that summer work will happen, or the main level work will happen and take place.
But it will be the same contractor.
Yes, it's all been in the same project. That way, it's continuity, and they have to finish by. I think I have it as August 1st or something like that, of 27. Yep. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
What do?
You guys have any other questions regarding that, or for Michelle or Jesse? So then I think we need to take would it be 3 different actions?
No, it's all in one motion.
All one motion.
All one resolution.
Okay. So the resolution was in your board packet, but ultimately it is approving the tentative approval of them. It's going to be the form of contract. It's going to be the estimated project cost. It's going to be setting the date for the public hearing, and then it's going to be authorizing the posting of the competitive bids for the project. So
So the updated one that we said was just over 3 million. I think it was like 3.
So similar, like very similar.
Yeah, very similar. It's actually down about 125 from the previous one. So it's 3,332,000.
Okay, thanks.
That's all in.
Awesome. I was going to motion to approve unless.
I was just going to mention that we would be opening bids on July 21st, which is Tuesday the 21st at 2 o'clock, and then we would have a special board meeting, which you guys would be setting, but we were suggesting July 27th at 6 o'clock. That would be, we've already opened up the bids on the 21st, the board then would be accepting and approving that.
So when's the public hearing on the project?
That would be on the July 27th.
Okay, that's that July.
Yeah.
Before you approve the plans, specs, and specifications. Today you're only tentatively.
Okay.
Yeah, a public hearing in the resolution set for 6 p.m. on the 27th.
Do I need to say that when I read this motion, or can I just read it as
No, you
is?
can just read that motion because
Okay.
you're approving the resolution and it's included
Oh,
inside the
sure.
resolution.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to motion to approve the resolution tentatively approving the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the Ogden Community School renovation to Ogden Elementary project, setting the time, date, and location for a public hearing on the project and authorizing the posting of a notice seeking competitive bids for the project.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I'll second what she said.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yes. All right. Well, that's fun. Yay. Yeah, did we? I just wanted to wrap that up, so in case you guys want to leave, you can. I mean, you're welcome to stay, but
Is there any other questions that you guys have for FRK?
while we have them, going once, going twice. All right.
Thank you guys.
Feel free to take off. Yeah, there's no reason. Yeah. All right, great. So moving on to milk and bread bids.
Yeah, some
More
more
exciting
things here,
stuff.
yeah. So Cindy sends out annual bids, and with that, we want to usually try and spur up business. And then this time, we actually had AEA, which is who we currently have for our milk. That was the only bidder. And then Pano Breads was the other one, Pano Gold. So really, those are the ones that we are currently with. There's really no changes, but we do need to approve those recommendations.
Thanks, ladies. Drive safe home.
Thanks.
Any questions?
Do we just have to approve this because it's over a certain amount, or why do we have to approve this?
It's something with food service procurement, you have to approve milk and bread bids every year.
Well, I motion to
Yeah.
approve the milk bid from AE and bread bid from Pano for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yep. Okay. Equipment break fix insurance renewal.
Yeah, so with Jester, we've done this for a couple of years now, but it's a continuation of the Break Fix program. The Break Fix program, you guys saw that renewal around $41,900. It allows us the ability to, when things break, we are going to fix those, and then we submit that to the insurance, and they reimburse us for those damages. It helps with our nutrition account because some of the things that would be breaking and we've been deficit in our nutrition, so it kind of helps with that, and or some of our capital expenditures.
The changes to save is very helpful.
We started this program 3 years ago. We were kind of the whole everything. It was all inclusive, and we've kind of narrowed that down the scope because we didn't feel we were using it to its fullest. We took off like HVAC was off of there, technology. So we really have kind of found that sweet spot where originally it was about $100,000, and we've narrowed that down to about where you see it now. Last year we were at $39,000, and this year we're at that $41,000. And we have found good usage, and it is helping us with some other accounts that have, like prime example, the nutrition account. You guys saw the expenditures for this year. We are overexpending what our revenue is. So it helps us with some of those things. If they break down, we're able to not necessarily expend those in the nutrition account. We're able to spend them and utilize and leverage this program.
Remind me of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wondered if there was a figure of how much you submitted.
Yeah.
I don't know a total, but I can tell you how much it's saved nutrition.
Yep.
Through May, we had received almost $6,500 of their $10,000 in regular equipment repairs and maintenance, but some of those aren't covered, like the hood inspections aren't covered but come out of that. So it covered about 60% of our nutrition fund equipment breakdowns, which was helpful. I mean, that's a small piece when you put
So and that was about $6,000. You said?
yeah, 6,500. And then the doors, all of the door positioning switches and locks, anytime any of the mechanical pieces or the electronic pieces of the doors break down, SU pays for that. So I just got a $550 check from them today for a door repair.
Earl, I did ask our insurance, and they said it's about 75 to 80 cents on the dollar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we spent $39,000 last year.
We got about 30,000 recouped back.
Gotcha.
So it is not a dollar for dollar. It is not right now.
But it could if something did.
It could, yeah. It could actually be,
Yeah.
it could exceed. It could be 150%. Now, when we go to
We
get our
see
renewal
an
the next year,
increase.
they're
We'd
going
see
to
an increase the next
Well,
year.
you will.
Yeah.
But this last fiscal year, I did ask that when we were going through renewal, and Nolan is our agent, and he said that we were in that 75 to 80% usage rate.
Does this insurance help protect the general fund as well?
It hasn't as much because most of our repairs, major repairs, come out of Keppel or Save. So it's helping save some of those dollars right now.
It would be primarily your nutrition and your travel, whereas some other programs is beneficial because it supplants the general. That would probably not be the case in this situation.
Excellent. Any other questions, or are we ready to make a motion?
The approval of SU Insurance Company equipment rate, its insurance renewal, 41,944.
Britton?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Vansickle?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes. Okay, moving on to some handbooks.
Yeah, we got a number of handbooks tonight. The first one would be the employee handbook. Melissa does a great job with that. There was just a few things with, she highlighted it in yellow in your board packet, but I think there was some maternity leave, some social media usage, gender identity, and visitor and guest were the items that I had really identified were the major changes that she put in there. A lot of it was probably recommendations from attorneys and or to be compliant with law.
Right. If there are no questions on the employee handbook,
So I was going to ask one
Yeah.
thing. The gift section, is that required legally?
Yes.
What section?
Gifts, like what they can receive.
They can only receive a certain amount. for a gift.
Yes. Gift section.
Other questions?
all right, anybody?
Move to approve the 26-27 employee handbook.
Britton? Taylor? Vansickle?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes. Okay, on to student handbooks.
We moved those up a little bit this year because we're hoping to do online registration, and part of the online registration process is parents need to acknowledge and recognize that they have looked and reviewed the handbook. So we're just wrapping up the school year, and I tasked our building principals to make sure that they got that up and going. So Amy worked really hard on the pre-K program as well as the K-5. And then Derek also worked really hard on the middle school, high school handbook. Derek is on vacation, so if you guys have questions about middle school, high school, I can certainly answer those. And or if you have questions about the elementary, Amy's here and available to answer those questions.
I do have a question, probably for you. And I apologize, I didn't read every one of your handbooks. It was recital weekend. My apologies. But I was just curious that the law that was just passed regarding removal of students, etc. Did that have any impact on?
So right now, we are waiting for guidance from the Department of Ed. We wanted to move forward and do online registration. Once that guidance comes out, we are going to have to make those changes. So we are probably in August going to have to amend with just the changes for student discipline in relationship to that law. So we are aware of it, but yet we're also waiting for that guidance, and we want to open up online registration. So the answer is yes, we're aware, and no, the changes that are in the books right now do not reflect the current changes for that law for this upcoming school year.
So I hear you saying we already know that like our policy in there does not match the new law. Is that what you're saying?
We're going to have to change
We will
once
have
that,
to change.
yeah, we will have to change.
I was going to ask, under the transportation of non-resident and non-public school students, it refers to non-resident students paying tuition, blah, 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 and it talks about will be transported according to like their pro-rata share of the actual cost for transportation. Is that true, or I thought we established a rate for them?
We established a rate for the students that were within 2-mile radius.
So this would be for anyone not.
This is something different though.
Okay.
You're reading non-public.
Non-resident and non-public school students.
Yeah.
So the non-public transportation piece, you either have to offer transportation to their non-public schools or a reimbursement for their parent mileage. And so we utilize the parent mileage, but it's something that piece is different than the OE transportation.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be for somebody that maybe is going to enroll in Boone, and then ultimately the parent, let's say more times than not, the parent actually transports their child to the parochial school,
Yes.
and then we actually receive a bill for that.
And that's a legal thing. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'll motion to approve the 26-27 preschool, elementary, and middle high school student books.
Second.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yes. Okay, meal prices.
Yeah, continual increase and you guys see it, you guys are going to the grocery store, but Cindy puts things into a formula calculator, and through that formula calculation, it was a recommendation that food prices should go, or excuse me, meal prices should go up 10 cents. So you can see where in your handbook, or excuse me, in your packet, it said where the 25-26 were versus the 26-27 recommendations. A lot of that is formula generated based off of Cindy's recommendations.
Any questions on that? It's not fun to raise prices.
It is not.
Are we comparable to other districts?
I looked, and we are slightly higher than other districts.
Do we know why? I mean, that's maybe a loaded question.
Yeah, I'm not sure the rationale for why they haven't increased with the rates. I think it's every local has a different narrative and a story on where their nutrition account is versus where it isn't. Yeah, so it's hard to specify why, but I looked at 2 schools, and we were close, within probably, I would say, 15 to 25 cents. They weren't drastic, but we were higher by 15 to 25 cents.
I'll motion to approve the 26-27 prices.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor, Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yes. Summer band lesson fee.
Last year, it had been a couple years, so we haven't increased those. Last year, we did increase those, and based off of that increase last year, we did not make a recommendation to increase the rates for this year. So it's really that $40 is a continuation of what the rates were previous years.
To approve the summer band lesson fee of $40.
Second.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yep. Policy revisions.
There's a number of them there. One that I took to our DLT district leadership team was our wellness policy. We will be our wellness program, our nutrition program is going to be up for audit this year, and we needed to make sure that our wellness policy was reviewed within 3 years. It had been a while, so our DLT gave me some recommendations that was reflective of that regulation. Others are some recommendations through ISB. So that's really ultimately what those policy revisions were for.
Nothing seemed too radical to me. What did you guys think?
Good.
No question.
All right, let's take a motion if we can.
I'll move to approve the first reading policies 206.3, 206.4, 701.2, 701.3, 701.5, 704.2, 704.3, and first and final readings of policies 203 and 507.9.
Lauren is auditioning to be an
That's
auctioneer.
right.
I'll second what she said.
Britton,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Van Sickle,
Yes.
Merritt.
Yep. All right. Public comment. Did any of you want to speak?
Oh.
Brett? No? You're good? All right. Moving on to the board calendar. which is blank. So, do you have anything to add to that?
I think the biggest thing would be, and we've already previously discussed it, but just mark your calendar. There will be 2 meetings in July. We'll have our standard meeting, I think it might be July 13th. And then we'll follow up with another one, a special meeting on July 27th, where we will be having the public hearing and accepting the winning contract. So that's something that I did want to mention for calendar related. I have other items.
Exciting. Okay, good deal. So we'll throw it to you then.
Okay. I'm going to spend a little bit of time tonight with discussing some AI things and some other information. So first off, we will be receiving our therapy dogs the August 3rd through 7th. Actually, Maggie Lloyd will be going next week. It worked out better for her to go. And with the finalization of the parking lot, we've discussed possibly having kind of a ribbon cutting and or like welcoming of the therapy dogs and a meet and greet. So we were tentatively thinking about August 18th at 4 o'clock. By no means is it a requirement, but I just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were about doing some type of a meeting for our community to be able to come and
Meet the dogs?
meet the dogs as well as finalize the project.
Tuesday, August 18th is what?
Yeah, and the rationale for that is that would be one of our flex days for our teachers, and the next day would be the day that they formally report back to work. So that we just felt like it was a good timing to kind of do that at that time.
Well, that's fun.
So mark your calendars, and if you guys,
You said 4 o'clock?
we were thinking 4 o'clock. If we need to move it a little bit later, we certainly can do that as well.
Are you excited, Amy? Excuse me. Do you have a name picked up?
They're already named.
They're already named?
They're already
They've been
named.
trained.
Do you know its name yet?
Do you know what you're getting? Like what kind of, you don't even know that?
No.
Wow.
They put in a preference.
Oh, you did? Okay. So excited. So is Maggie bringing them home with her? Is that how that works?
Maggie will bring her dog back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then everybody takes their own.
So we'll go through like a week-long training and you pass a test.
You have to take a test? Good luck.
I was gonna say,
Wow.
what if you don't pass?
I know, like-
Then what do we do?
Well,
You will. You will. I'm just joking.
By definition, the thing could be pole dogs.
That would be nice. Unfortunately, those don't.
I'm guessing they go well.
I don't think those are typical.
Pole dog.
Genetically, they're 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that date, like, is it a huge deal if we're not here?
No.
Okay. It's the Angus show at the state fair, so it just depends on how
Yeah.
long everyone's out of here.
And I'm just throwing it out there. It isn't set in stone, but I do think it would be a nice thing to be able to welcome our community.
Yeah, I think we should.
And be
That's a
able to-
great idea.
Yeah,
I think it's fun.
I do too.
I mean, and it's really different. Like, therapy dogs are not, like, super common and known about, so
We
I
should
think
celebrate
it's
it for sure.
cool to show off.
I will tentatively plan on the 18th at 4. And if something needs to be adjusted, let's just have a conversation. And we have plenty of time that we can do that. And then once it starts to get a little bit closer, we can firm that up and start to get that information out to the community.
Sounds cool. Great.
Wanted to talk to you. I reached out to ISB, Iowa Association of School Board, and just about some continual professional development for the board. Had a really great conversation with Tammy Dalbaugh this morning. Just thinking about just having her come in and present and share some information, and wanted to know if that was something that you guys were interested in continually engaging in professional development. It'd be a work session. She threw out, if you guys were interested, possibly doing it on August 3rd. Would be something that she is from Muscatine, but she also works in the Des Moines. So she's trying to figure out working in southeast Iowa versus when she's in Des Moines. And August 3rd appeared to be a date that she was going to be available to possibly have a work session.
Like in the evening, or what do we?
I think we could do a 6 o'clock if that worked out for you guys.
I think it's great.
That's for me. That's okay.
Do we? I mean, that was just one date that she threw
Yeah,
out.
let's try to find
I would like to find one that.
Let's try to find one that works for everybody.
Okay. what would be some options that maybe would work before school starts?
Do you have other dates that you're unavailable that you
Well,
can share?
August is busy. We have our French kids at home.
Sure.
She did throw out July 29th. I feel terrible because we are meeting on July 27th for the opening.
You go ahead. You guys just go ahead with it. 'Cause I don't follow that real well. I'm only doing it 4 years. I only have another year and a half. So, yeah, you can go ahead with it. Don't hold up if you want the process done before the summer is over. So,
I don't mind meeting close together if July 29th works for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we've done them before several years ago, and I think it's a good time for the board to come together and be sure that we're on the same page. And a year and a half is a long time if you ask me. So I think it would be beneficial just to have us all there. I mean, not only that, it isn't. I mean, we have a policy actually about it. But I just think we should respect that. So I just think that it would be best to
I'm
keep
really
it all.
not interested. So I'm laying my cards on the table.
You're not coming with me.
No, not to that. No thanks.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So when would you guys like to engage in some professional development?
August 3rd works for me, or July 29th. Yes.
What she said.
Yeah, either one is fine.
What works? What do you prefer?
Let's go with, she gave me both of those dates. Let's go with August 3rd
Okay.
at 6 o'clock.
Sounds great.
And I will contact Tammy and get that arranged for her. We kind of were bouncing off a number of ideas. If you guys are interested and have some ideas or suggestions, send that to me.
The topics?
Yep. If you go to ISB, and maybe what I'll do is a follow-up for myself, and in my weekly communication, I'll send a number of the stock ones that they have already created. And she also has the ability to customize if there's something that you guys are really interested in. So I'll send you at least what the stock professional development is that ISB has.
That sounds good. And she's really good too. I'm excited about it.
August 3rd at 6 o'clock, and I'll put that in my communication.
Would it be maybe wise to reach out to Pete?
And confirm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pete.
I will follow up with him.
Forgot about him already.
I don't want to bother him.
Thought he
while
was
he's
your
on
best
vacation.
friend. Jeez.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You can go to the ISB.
I'm going to make it easy for you, Matt.
Okay.
And in my weekly communication, I'm going to download all of the professional development options that they have, and I'm going to provide that. And then if there's something that resonates for you, you can go ahead and send me, hey, we're kind of interested in this topic.
It's best. It's probably best.
Okay.
Because you do it that way.
Yes.
Feel legit.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, and then last thing, this is going to take a little bit of time here, but I want to talk about AI readiness in Ogden, and I wanted to share just with you guys some information here and update the board. You can get one of those for Earl. So this really started with, actually, I have a good friend in Winterset that actually wrote a book on AI implementation in school districts. And I started to really kind of read his book a little bit, and there was things I was like, boy, we should be doing. I started to reach out to conference schools, and there was a number of conference schools that had kind of set some more on guidelines. There's actually board policy that most schools actually already have in place, but it also says the superintendent or a designee will also establish guidelines on what that implementation looks like. And we simply hadn't had that in place. So first thing that I guess I want to just kind of share with you guys is in March, April, and May, on page 3, we had community members, or committee members, and some of it being students, some of it being administration, and a good chunk of it being our teachers came together with really talking about where's the current state of AI usage in Ogden Community Schools and what do we need to do for the readiness of it. So that is the group, and appreciate their time. They volunteered a significant amount of time. I think there was 5 or 6 different meetings that we had, and I couldn't have done what they without the work that they did. The next thing on table 2, I'm going backwards, but the table 2 is really the work that we did over those 5 or 6 different sessions, starting from ultimately creating a belief statement all the way down to the AI professional development. So on page 2, that table of content was really a guideline of all the things that we did, if that makes sense. After we came together and we had our belief statement on AI usage and our core values, we actually, at the same time, were having a survey to send out to our staff and our students on really how are they using AI, how comfortable are they, how do they anticipate using it, and there was really some enlightening things that came out in the similarities between the staff and the students, as far as they want to make sure data protection, both of them were saying that. They want to be able to use it with academic integrity in place. They want to be able to use it for efficiencies and improving day-to-day managerial tasks. But they really wanted to have clear guidelines and processes on what are the expectations for the district when we are doing these things. So on page 5, there was a staff open response, and really what they said is, number 1, AI as a time multiplier for teachers. Number 2 is a call for clear rules. Number 3, a desire to preserve the human within the element. Number 4, ensure academic integrity. And 5 is an eagerness to learn AI. So that was really kind of some summaries of what our teachers and staff were saying when we were looking at AI within Ogden Community Schools.
I love that these graphics are AI generated.
They are. Yes, it is. The students is page 6, and the summary for them was how do they use the tools effectively. Again, that's professional development. Ties very close to what the staff were asking for. They wanted safeguards to ensure academic integrity. When we asked our students, they were wanting to make sure that they had those in place because they were concerned about their peers using it inappropriately and in the wrong manner. And then number 3 is really that aspect of data protection, making sure that that is in place. So one of the things that was interesting, a number of our staff, when we asked them, didn't think that we had policy in place. So we actually have policy that was in place about 3 years ago and approved by the board. But with that policy, it does say that there needs to be additional guidelines, and those things have not been in place. So that board policies that we have, and I did not make copies of it, but it's on page 7 in that first paragraph, 605.A, AI in the education environment, and there's also an additional regulation, 605AR1. We did a crosswalk of other schools, and do they have board policies in place, and you guys can see that information as well.
Did you mention 605-8R2?
So it is interesting. I found that for one of our conference schools, and nobody else has that in place. I think what they ultimately did is they took some of their guidelines and they put them into regulation and policy. And that was an additional regulation on top of where other schools have not done that. They just said, hey, superintendent, figure out what those guidelines are or designate, and they don't actually create policy on it. They create just standard practice.
Sure.
So the guidelines are on page 8, and really ultimately it is make sure that we have policy compliance. We want to make sure that the AI tools that we're using have gone through a vetting process and have been approved. So right now we have some that actually maybe are or are not using, and they are not blocked. Our intent would be is if they are not approved, we would actually be putting a filter or a block on that to not allow them to be currently being used in our district. We want to make sure that there's academic integrity and transparency by having some type of an AI acknowledgement statement, and we want to make sure that the human is always within the loop of that. So those are some of our guidelines.
Now, explain that again. An AI acknowledgement statement. I'm sorry, I didn't- like,
If you go to the next page, there's an example of a black box.
You see that, Earl, on page 9?
it's at the bottom.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
so can you develop this idea of human agency?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that that we were concerned about is if somebody actually uses AI and whatever they submit or push out, they're actually taking that and submitting it to turning it in.
Okay.
So it's that human integrity or the academic integrity, but also making sure that it is for maybe like some idea creation. Maybe it's, but you're actually taking that initial concept that they generate and you're actually using that as maybe a launch or a start point, but it isn't the end product. That the human is always involved in that process whenever we are using that.
So, just a hypothetical, not to put you on the spot, but I use AI occasionally. Like I have a task, and I have an idea, so I use AI and just put it in and it'll kick out some outcome of something. And quite frankly, most of the stuff AI propagates or brings up, I'm like, whatever. So that's not kind of real. But from time to time, I'm like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that aspect, and then I'll just kind of, it's kind of a tool to use to help develop a thought that I already have.
That's correct.
So is that kind of what you're thinking about when it, like the etiquette or protocols of using AI as a student? It's a tool. It's not your homework, do it.
Correct. One of the students that we had on here was actually saying that they're using it for like helping with study habits. So they can actually use Gemini and they can actually put in their notes and they can actually say, create me 30 different questions that might be on the test so that I can actually study for it. So that's a real benefit of how they're actually are they using this to help with their study habits.
Sure.
So to answer your question, it isn't necessarily that it's given, but they're actually using it as a tool to help them with a deeper understanding of things.
So to add to this, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in work. My 2 cents in work. My 2 cents in. I can't talk,
what you mean.
let alone think. But also like the human aspect, like setting a culture that understands that AI is not a person. AI is a machine. It's a tool. We are people that were to use AI. AI is not to use us. You know, and making clear, distinctive, like kind of rudimentary, just understanding of who's who in this equation. You know, because AI, obviously, I think we all know it's going to be the internet of steroids, maybe more. So, I mean, it's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and it's going to change the world for the better and for the worse. So I'm glad you're doing this. This is very important.
Lauren, you have
I have, thoughts. I don't want to step on what the committee has already done, but I feel like an AI acknowledgement statement is going to be outdated later. I mean, people use AI to write an email. I don't know, but I would assume educators are asking AI, hey, give me 30 test questions that would pertain to this topic. I feel it's unfair that this is the one tool that they have to write an acknowledgement statement for. And I would just throw that out there. Like, I mean, even if you wrote a letter to all the district families and you put it through AI to say, hey, make this sound more, I don't know, emotionally appealing or more kind, you would then have to put the statement on there. And I don't know, I appreciate that the committee values that, but I also feel that's going to become cumbersome.
It's really hard to monitor.
Yeah.
I mean, just by putting this out, you're saying, go ahead. I'm not sure. I love it. I use it all the time. But I'm not a 10th grader trying to learn that. So
I think the initial thought behind that, and I appreciate the feedback, and that's why I'm bringing it to the board, was that if somebody were to be submitting something and it was not of their originality, they wanted to be able to acknowledge that and highlight that. You are correct. There are times where I actually do a rough draft of an email, and I'm actually, help me reword this. And I am not putting the acknowledgement statement on there. The original ideas and thoughts were mine. AI simply helped me organize my thoughts and structure it to be a little bit better.
So you feel this statement would only apply to student work?
I feel like it would be pertinent for students that are submitting things for submission of grading.
Okay.
And I think that was our original intent behind that, but I can also bring that back to our committee to really define what were the things that they wanted that to be used for.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
a kid who's struggling, doesn't have writing skills at all, comes in and uses 5-syllable words throughout this paper, and he knows he didn't write it. What is the teacher? Is there something in here that the teacher? Maybe I missed that part.
So that would be academic integrity.
Yeah.
They're taking something that is not theirs and they're submitting it.
Right.
So that would possibly be under our handbook as far as cheating.
Yeah. I mean, it would be. Who would you?
Yeah. And I'm not going to pretend that I know a whole lot about AI. This challenged me significantly to do this, but I felt like it was something that we needed to do. There are the ability to put things into AI and find out, was it generated from AI? So I think our teachers are keenly aware of what that is, and I don't know all of those aspects, but I think that we need to, our staff and our students are using it right now. The intent is we're trying to put some post up and say, this is the world that we want you to operate within, and also embrace it. They're eager for professional development. They want it. And one of the resources that our teachers constantly ask for is they don't have enough time to do all the things that they need to do. And if we are able to give them some appropriate tools that we have vetted out appropriately, that are safe, that align with our board policies, and we say yes, and we're going to not only allow you to use it, but we're also going to give you professional development so that you become really equipped with it. I think it's something that we should do. And that was our goal here, is really trying to figure out, we got a number of people that are probably using ChatGPT. We ended up finding a rubric that was all the things we were looking for in an AI, generative AI tool. Meeting all of the FERPA and all these different regulations. And I don't understand all this, but you can create and say, is ChatGPT appropriate based off of this rubric? And it will come back and give us a score on what's on page 8, red, yellow, or green. And we have staff and students that are currently using ChatGPT, and the student information, if it was entered in there, is not protected. And it would come up as a red right now and not be allowed in Ogden Community Schools.
ChatGPT as a whole?
Right now, the free version of it.
Wow.
Yep. Because it is not student protective, that information is not.
You mean like what the information the student puts into it is not protected?
Or if I put in student information in there, so maybe I'm creating a letter and I'm actually putting that now is open source. My understanding is it's open source and it's now open and out there.
So anybody could just access, if you mentioned age,
Correct.
grade, whatever. I mean,
Whereas what we are proposing is to go through the vetting process and actually find things that are more closely. One of them is we're a Google school. So we intend on using Gemini, and that information is within our system. So one of the first things that we would do is we would approve Gemini as an acceptable tool that we would actually start to educate and push our teachers to using Gemini and GEMS, and we would frown against ChatGPT because of the former things that I had previously mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's very wise. I mean, every employer has done this where they have a closed loop AI system, so Ogden School District should certainly.
Yep. And that's really our goal here is just trying to narrow that down, and ultimately we would create a list of these are the AI tools that have been approved. I'm using Grammarly. It's an additional add-on to my email. I'm sure a number of you, that's AI generated. So there's a number of things that, again, I'm not going to pretend to know all of this, but we need to start to put up some fence posts and be able to say we're going to operate within that, is my belief.
Has the teachers had much professional development in this area?
They have not. Well, if you actually look at the results, a lot of them said that they are using it, they're dabbling, but they're really kind of educating and teaching themselves. And we got a number of people that say, hey, I'm highly proficient, but then we also have some that are saying, I'm kind of apprehensive and I'm scared of it. So we need to, and our intent is the next steps is what does professional development look for our teachers, and do they know what our vetting process is so that they can start submitting things to the committee. We can actually run through it and say, yes, this is approved, or no, it's not approved, and then we're able to tell them these are the ones that you can use. And then we're going to go ahead and help them understand how can you use these tools to help you with those time management things that we were previously mentioning. And that's really where we're ultimately at. The staff that was in the committee was extremely excited. On the last page, it talks about AI professional development. And we're hoping to integrate different strategies and using it for the 26-27 school year. We're actually looking at what does some of our pre-service days look like, and how can we actually help support them, as well as some of our days around Thanksgiving with the knowledge might be in the room. We might have some skilled teachers that might be able to say, hey, I'm going to do a special session on using AI to help me with activities and materials that I'm utilizing in the classroom. They might be able to do a 30-minute little session. Teachers are going to come and they're going to walk out of there better equipped on how to use this appropriately rather than not.
If this is a dog you're going to chase around the yard, and the dog's just going to keep getting bigger and stronger, you don't really know what to do with the dog after it gets so big. You know, it's a big bless you.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
I have no clue how to.
So I'm glad you're going down this road. I'm glad you're taking the initiative. And Earl, you're right. I mean, this thing could run away from all of us. You know, and even if it's a little messy and sloppy, it needs to be done. So somehow, one way or another, this is very important. Yeah. It needs to be done.
I attended a special session in Iowa City, and obviously a larger system. They've had some of these things in place for their teachers, but they're actually starting to look at what is the scope and sequence for teaching students about AI usage. You know, and they're even starting in, you know, maybe first or second grade with, how many of you have ever watched a Netflix show? Well, Netflix is actually AI generated. It's going to come up with your recommendations, you know? So they're actually just using very simple, basic language for some of their younger kids and identifying and labeling that, well, that's generative AI. And then they're building upon those different things to help equip their students with it. So we're not there yet, but I do think at some point we need to be thinking about how are we equipping our students with what is AI, and how are they using it safely and appropriately.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not insinuating that we're having our kids go on to, in first grade, use Gemini. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But are we teaching them the very basic languages and understanding of it?
So is this an FYI thing?
It's
Like we're not approving?
There's really no board action. I'm just bringing it to you guys and really giving you an update on what the AI committee did. And my intent is moving forward the AI vetting process. So we're going to have approved and not approved tools. And also, my intention is to start to bring some professional development to our teachers so that they can start to move forward with the usage of this.
I think that's great.
Yeah, good job.
Very good.
A lot of work.
This is great.
That's it.
All done? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Awesome.
Second.
Britton? Yes. Taylor? Van Sickle?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes.